Hello and welcome to another edition of An English Guy Watching Wrestling. I'm that English guy, I'm Nick. Thank you so much for clicking on another video, I really do appreciate it. And this one, we're going to be covering the 7th of May edition 2021 of Ring of Honor Television. It was a very good show, so with that being said, jump right into it. Opening matchup was EC3 tagging with Flip Gordon versus the Briscoe brothers. Now, of course, after the 90th anniversary and the feud between Jay Briscoe and EC3, there's a bit of respect that's been given back to the Briscoes by EC3. And talk about an unwilling tag team partner, that is Flip Gordon. And you could tell in this match. But not to say this matchup wasn't good, because it was. And of course, the Briscoes, in the past have had their feud against each other, but when they're on the same page, they'll reliably one of the best tag teams in wrestling. You can never not have a good time with the Briscoes around. And with a team like Flip Gordon and EC3 not wanting to be partners, it was a very interesting dynamic. And the way they worked, it was very, very good. And that really told the story towards the end of the match, when the chain was brought to effect by Flip Gordon onto the Briscoes. And of course, no idea about what happened. EC3 went for the win and got it. And it was interesting to see that kind of dynamic when EC3 had no idea. Not very often you see that in wrestling these days. You do see sometimes they see the chain being used and they refuse to do it. EC3 had no idea in the way the match went. So of course he picked up the win, and the Briscoes were not happy, and neither was. EC3 had no idea. Flip Gordon gets away with murder, shall we say? And it was actually quite an interesting dynamic, and I enjoyed the unnecessary and unrelenting tags from both EC3 and Flip Gordon. EC3 a lot less, so just once, but it was worth watching. And sometimes in wrestling you like to see this kind of thing, and it was cool because obviously EC3 and his feud after the 90th anniversary has been kind of interesting to continue on in this kind of regard, but in a respectful way. So good opening tag match, I enjoyed it, and very, very innovative and thoughtful ending to the match. So definite thumbs up to all four men for being involved in this. The next match was a Brian Johnson Open Challenge. Now, of course, Brian Johnson has basically been on a single tear in Ring of Honor as the Mecca, and he's actually done some very good stuff. He's only suffered one loss now to Danhausen, and he laid out an open challenge to the Ring of Honor roster. So, his music hits Danhausen. He comes out, but he wasn't the opponent for Brian Johnson. PCO was. Now, and that was a surprise, to be completely honest. Obviously, an open challenge, you never know who's going to turn up. But when it's PCO, you start to wonder, was this a good idea? Because PCO, despite the fact his age in wrestling now is still going strong. So, apologies. He won't stop itching into my notes. There we go. So, it was really cool to see PCO being involved in a match like this because I was not expecting it. And Danhausen, I always say this, Danhausen on commentary was a delight. I mean, Danhausen is one of the best characters in wrestling right now. You kind of absolutely love him. And this was a kind of crazy match. And of course, PCO being the malfunctioning thing with his eyes sometimes. And of course, taken out on ringside staff. Typical PCO and old school PCO. Sorry, and obviously PCO that does a great job in making it work so well. But Brian Johnson did some good stuff in this match. And of course, PCO and his style has always been a bit crazy, innovative, not afraid to go on the outside. And they definitely did in this one some hard-hitting smacks, shall we say, onto the flooring. This one from both men, to be completely fair. But I did enjoy this. And PCO winning and he hit this moonsault, the PCO moonsault, which he has defeated a lot of people in the past. I don't think anybody had ever kicked out of it before until Brian Johnson did. So, of course, PCO decided to do something crazy and did a submission I've never seen any wrestler do before. Basically, put his two fingers into the mandible on the other side of the jaw and hooked on the other side of the jaw and tried to tear the jaw apart. Think of the reverse bear trap from the Saw series and you'll know what I'm talking about. That was brutal. I've never seen that submission before in wrestling, ever. And, of course, Brian Johnson tapped out. And it's kind of innovation, again, I like seeing, and this was no exception. To see that kind of finish was kind of brutal, also kind of interesting. So you don't really see that very often. So PCO won. Brian Johnson's open challenge was not the best of ideas. After he got a very, very strong and hard-hitting promo before the match, as this was not as he was willing to do whatever he can to become a champion, get a chance in the television rankings, TV title rankings, my apologies. PCO put a stop to that in a very crazy and PCO style match. Brian Johnson did very well here too, so it's a very interesting clash of styles that works well. So thumbs up for that. And it brought us to the main event. Quinn McKay versus Angelina Love. And of course, Angelina Love, long-time veteran of the wrestling scene by now, 19 years, which is kind of crazy, against Quinn McKay. Now, Quinn, as you know, in recent memory, has been doing backstage reporting, has been hosting Ring of Honor television to give people an indication of what's coming, and she's done a great job. And this was Quinn McKay's chance to get in the women's tournament for the women's Ring of Honor Women's Championship. And this is the first time I've ever seen Quinn McKay wrestle. I'll be the first to admit it. And she was great. She showed some very good wrestling in a particular match. And of course, Angelina Love, a veteran by now. If you've ever seen her, you know how good she is. And this was a good back and forth match, to be completely honest. I mean, Angelina Love did dominate a lot of the match. I think Quinn McKay started to show what she can actually do, and she did very, very well. And even though Angelina Love won the match after the Botox injection, after Mandy Rose started to interfere, unfortunately. But sorry, not Mandy Rose. My apologies. No, not Mandy Rose. Anyway, it was Mandy. Sorry, Mandy Leon. My apologies. I'm so sorry. Mandy Leon. Mandy Leon decided to interfere and distract Quinn McKay, and of course, Quinn McKay was that close to winning the match, and you actually thought she was going to win it. And Angelina Love recovered after Mandy distracted her. Got the Botox injection, as now continued on. But Quinn McKay, lost nothing in this match. She did a very good performance. And at one point, I could have sworn I saw she was bleeding from the mouth. And dedication and much respect to her for continuing on a match and doing a great job. So this was a good main event. Actually, I enjoyed this one. And good wrestling between the two of them. Angelina Love, obviously being the more loudmouth kind of character. But of course, Quinn McKay did a very, very good job. And she lost nothing in this match, even though she did lose. Very respectful of what she did, and obviously what Angelina Love did. So my apologies, Angelina Love did. So my apologies. So definite thumbs up to both ladies for producing a good main event. And that was the whole show. It was a very good episode of Ring of Honor television this week, and good one lined up for next week too. Some good matches there. I'm looking forward to that. And on that positive note, I will leave the review here. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see everybody next time. Until that time, take care.